This morning I'm talking about freedom. So we're going to begin with what really is freedom. Because here in America, we always say we're free, right? How many of us actually feel free to be who we truly are all of the time? James Baldwin said, freedom is not something anybody can be given. Freedom is something people take, and people are as free as they want to be. Wow, personal responsibility again. That being said, true freedom truly is and has to do with the human spirit. So, who or what stops us from feeling free? Well, many of us can blame a lot of things outside of ourselves, right? We blame the government. We blame our parents. We blame religion. Sometimes we even blame God. Have you ever blamed the weather? Right? I mean, it's gotten to that point where people just like to lay blame. The truth is, we stop ourselves from being free. And freedom in its simplest form has to do with what Nathan read and shared about. That feeling from childhood where all things are possible, without a care in the world. That feeling that everything we wanted to be, to do, and to have was going to magically happen. And wasn't that awesome? What a great way to feel and to be. When we're children, if we had an emotion, we expressed it. Not a lot of thought goes into that. I know, we had our grandson yesterday. And not a lot of thought goes into it. We don't worry about, children don't worry about how others see their behavior or if what they're doing or acting out in the moment is appropriate or not. They have no thought about that. What happens as we grow older is we lose that magical feeling, that openness to love and to be vulnerable. We begin to feel as though we're a victim of circumstance or a victim of someone. When we take that perspective of being a victim, we say that something very sad happened to us, and that is why I am the way I am. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I've shut myself off from others. It's because of that situation or that person why we feel restricted in expressing our true selves. Truth is, freedom is what you do with what has been done to you. How do we handle it? How do we deal with it? How do we express it? Real freedom is being clear of our own judgments, clear of identifying ourselves as a victim in any sense of the word. We all still have that child inside of us, that real us who never really grew up. And I know each and every single one of you, and I know that you have that too. I know it's there inside of you. And it comes out when we're feeling excited, when we're feeling fulfilled, when we're excited about what it is we're doing, whether it's painting or writing or dancing or singing, just expressing ourselves in some meaningful way, we get that childlike feeling. And it's in our happiest moments that the real us comes out, is expressed. And you can very easily identify those times because you don't care about the past. You're not worried about the future. Where are you? Right now, right here, and present moment. So the freedom that I believe, the freedom that we're looking for is to be ourselves, to express ourselves, and to be accepted. And much of the time we do things to please others, so we are accepted. Rather than living our lives to please ourselves and to fill our soul's desire, we are concerned about them. and what they see and how they feel. And when we do that, we're giving away that freedom in exchange for acceptance from them, whomever they might be. Now, the first step toward personal freedom is awareness. We have to be aware that that's what we want. Awareness that we're allowing something other than our own personal desires to have power or control over our mind and in turn our actions. If we're not aware that our mind is full of wounds and past hurts, we can't begin to clear and heal those wounds and past hurts. First, we have to know they're there. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have that feeling of uneasiness, of confinement, of I can't get out of my own space here. And then we wonder why. Part of our spiritual journey is to heal and to transform our lives, our personal desires, and to fulfill our life purpose, whatever that looks like. To do that in many, many cases, we must challenge our current beliefs. Oddly enough, when we do that, we may even find that some of those beliefs that have guided us into that wounded mind aren't even true, or they're no longer valid. We may even find that we have spent suffering possibly for years over something that wasn't even the truth or wasn't even real. How many times have you been misunderstood? Or have you misunderstood somebody in your life and really took that and allowed that to hurt you for years in some cases? We've all been through something similar to that. Or somebody told you something that was true. You didn't like it, but okay, it must be true because I believe them. The only reason that we believe things sometimes is because someone else gave us that belief. They put it in our mind because it was true for them. Doesn't mean it's true for you. And here's really an important part. You can't blame them for having that belief because you have chosen to hold on to it. You have chosen to make that part of your life. Now, you can shift your life experience anytime you want if you aren't liking the way that it's unfolding. You get to do that. And you do that by consciously making different choices. There's no one to lead you into that. You're it. You're the top. You're in charge. You're the boss. You have your own truth, and you are free to live that truth to whatever extent you want. And it's very simple to do that as soon as you become aware of the idea that you have endless possibilities in front of you, and you get to choose, and you get to decide how your life is going to show up. The freedom that we seek is to use our own mind and our own body to live our own life, to live our own truth. And when we recognize and understand that we're being controlled by an old belief system, we then come upon some choices. To continue the way that we're living, or to do what we did as children, rebel. How many of you rebelled? I know I did. To no longer accept what others say as the truth. Instead, we begin to find our own truth. We find our own independence. We can give ourselves permission to use our own mind, to make our own decisions based on what's for our best and our highest good, as well as decisions that are affected by those around us for their best and their highest good as well. Choosing this path ensures that we will not be a hopeless victim of our emotions or of someone else's rules and ideas. It's up to us to choose what to believe and what not to believe. We're no longer children. We know that. So we can choose to believe in anything we want. And you know what? That includes believing in yourself. And I believe that is the most important thing you can do. Vic Johnson was quoted as saying that the magic of believing is that when you believe in yourself, the universe is forced to believe in you. Isn't that beautiful? And that's the truth. That's what we teach. If you have the awareness that the whole drama of your life has been from what you believe, and what you have believed may have not been real, then you can begin to change it. Recognition is step one. And to change beliefs, what do? You focus your attention on what it is you want to change. Developing an awareness of any self-limiting or fear-based beliefs you might be holding on to. Our beliefs can be like an addiction. Sometimes, I say sometimes, but I think it's true all the time, we're addicted to the way we are. Right? This is who I am, this is how I am, this is who I am, so leave me alone. I don't want to change. Some people are addicted to anger or jealousy or self-pity, which goes into that victim mode. Some people are addicted to how they feel about themselves. I'm not good enough. I can't because I'm not smart enough. Why bother to try? We get stuck in those thought processes. We adopt those beliefs about ourselves because we've repeated them over and over and over again, and we've come to believe them. We've come to believe they're true. So, now we're going to use that repetition process to change those beliefs. To take that conscious control of our thoughts, our behaviors, and our actions. The way you see the world depends on what emotions that we're feeling at the time. So, as it's been said, we see the world not necessarily as it is, but as we are. Doesn't that make perfect sense? For instance, when you're, I don't know about you, but when you're angry, does everything around you look wrong? Feels like everything's just wrong. And we start blaming things, even the weather. Nothing is pleasing. When we're sad, do a lot of things make you want to cry just because you're in that space? Maybe you feel vulnerable and have a need to protect yourself because you don't know in what moment somebody might attack you emotionally. Maybe you've lost that feeling of confidence that you held on to before. You don't trust anyone. You don't want to be vulnerable anymore because that's when we're seeing the world through the eyes of fear. So the way to heal ourselves of that fear is our very favorite topic, forgiveness. Don't we all love that? We have to forgive. We have to forgive those people who we feel have wronged us. Notice I say who we believe have wronged us. Not because they deserve to be forgiven necessarily, but because we love ourselves so much that we don't want to keep paying that uncomfortable price. And you know that price I'm talking about. We can choose to forgive because we feel compassionate for ourselves. We can let go of any resentment because guess what? We've had enough. We're no longer going to beat ourselves up. We're no longer going to abuse ourselves with negative words. We're no longer going to be a victim. And once you forgive yourself, that self-rejection in your mind is over. It's done. It has nowhere to live any longer. Self-acceptance begins, and the self-love will grow so strong that you're going to finally accept yourself just as you are. And that's the beginning of a free human. Forgiveness is the key. And you'll know you have forgiven someone. You know how? And I've done this, so I get it. When you see them and you no longer have that intense reaction, that intense emotional reaction, right? Use every single moment you have to be happy, to do what you really enjoy doing. Enjoy life. That's what we're here to do. Be alive. Be out loud. Love. Be vulnerable. Be open. What's the worst that can happen? Our heart gets hurt a little bit. And so what? You can be who you are. There's no need to live your life by trying to please anyone but yourself. You don't have to be concerned about what they think. Live every day as if it's the very last day of your life. Wake up each morning. Be excited. I'm so glad to be awake. I'm so glad to see the sun. I'm so excited to see what this wonderful new day is going to bring. I mean, that's the way we want to get up. Live with the attitude of gratitude for everything, and everyone. Be excited that you have one more day to be here on this beautiful planet, to be yourself, to be who you are, and to share that gift. Use your imagination with different eyes of perception to attain freedom. See yourself living a new life where you don't need to justify your existence and you are free to be who you truly are. Imagine you have permission to be happy and to really enjoy your life. Just imagine that. Imagine living your life without the fear of expressing your deepest desires. Imagine living your life without the fear of being judged by others. Imagine living your life without judging others. Imagine living without the fear of loving and not being loved. Imagine your life without being afraid to take a risk and to explore life. Imagine that you love yourself just the way you are. As you imagine those things, realize each one of those ideas absolutely, entirely possible. You can live in that state of grace, that state of bliss, the dream of heaven, and only love has the ability to put you in that state. We suffer because we choose to suffer. That's a choice. If we look at our life and don't like what we see, we can find so many excuses for it. However, you won't find a good one. The same is true for happiness. The only reason we're happy is because we choose to be happy. Happiness and suffering are both choices. The freedom to feel leads us to fearless honesty. We can believe who we are. We can act spontaneously and freely express our emotions. And as we notice and like what we spontaneously say and do, we become proud of our honesty, proud of who we are, because we realize we are no longer simply trying to please them or to look good for them. We are saying yes to ourselves as we are. This is precisely how our goodness, our godness, is revealed. And as we say yes to living life openly, freely, and authentically, we grow. And isn't that what we're all after? Ralph Marston has a beautiful quote that I'm going to close with this morning. True freedom demands that you think for yourself and live with an authentic, meaningful purpose that is uniquely you. It requires effort, commitment, creativity, and persistence. You have within you the desire, the ability, and the strength to live with freedom. Choose freedom, nourish and support it, and that freedom will bring a real richness to your world. Thank you so much for being here while I shared this truth as I understand it.